Hi, I'm Russ Potterfield for Wheeler Engineering. Thank you for buying this kit. This brief instructional DVD will teach you how to professionally mount a scope on your favorite rifle in your own home. Let's get started.
The scope mounting kit contains a fat wrench with common scope mounting bits, thread locking compound, scope ring alignment bars, a scope ring lapping tool with lapping compound, the level, crosshair leveling tool, and the instructional video you're watching. Before you begin, take a few minutes to get prepared. Whenever you're handling a gun, please remember safety. Keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Check to make sure it's unloaded. All you need to do in preparation is secure your gun in a quality gun vise, such as the Tipton Best gun vise shown here. Gather some cotton swabs, a good degreaser. We recommend Tipton InstaClean. Some grease. Tipton Moly Super Lube is a good one. A rust preventative, like Tipton Rust Guard, and a shop towel. A gunsmithing screwdriver set. This Wheeler 89-piece professional gunsmithing screwdriver set would be ideal. And of course, you'll need the scope to mount, along with the appropriate rings and bases. We'll be using standard 2-piece rings and bases. However, you may need to adapt these instructions slightly if you choose a different style. Bases are specific to the make and model of your gun, and rings are specific to the bases, scope tube diameter, and front objective. So be sure you purchase the right rings and bases. First, remove the plug screws that fill the scope mounting screw holes on most new rifles. Since we'll be using thread locking compound later, it's a good idea to clean the screws, screw holes, and the top of the receiver. After degreasing, be sure to apply a light coat of rust preventative before proceeding. Next, set the front and rear base on the top of the receiver according to the manufacturer's instructions. As you put the screws in, put a drop of thread locking compound on the threads. This will ensure that they won't back out over time. Just snug down the screws at this point. Once you've got the screws in and the thread locking compound on, it's time to torque them down to the specifications, which can be found in the instructions accompanying your kit. Then tighten each screw until you hear the click. First, we need to attach the top and bottom of the front ring. Then slide the two assembled halves onto the lapping bar and turn in the ring. It's best to go slightly past center and then back. The rear ring goes on by removing one of the windage screws, setting the ring on, and turning the windage screw back in. Finger tight is fine for now. Now loosen the ring screws on the rear ring and slide in the alignment bars with the points facing. Then tighten the screws just enough to hold the bars in place. The points of each alignment bar should be just short of making contact. Also, it works best if the points are approximately midway between the rings. If the scope rings are aligned, the points of the alignment bars will be aligned both vertically and horizontally. If the points are not aligned, you can turn the front ring and adjust the windage screws to improve horizontal alignment. When you get the horizontal alignment right, go ahead and snug down the windage screws to the recommended torque listed in the instructions accompanying your kit. Vertical misalignment can often be resolved by turning one or both rings 180 degrees. Lapping may also help with minor cases. Lapping rings increases the amount of ring surface area that the scope contacts. This reduces the chance your scope will shift or slide during recoil. Lapping also cures minor ring alignment problems, providing a stress-free mounting platform for your expensive scope. Next, apply some lapping compound to the inside of each ring. Slide the lapping bar through the rings thread the handle into the lapping bar and tighten the screws just enough to apply pressure, but still allow the bar to slide. Begin lapping the rings by sliding the bar back and forth. Periodically apply more compound as you're lapping. Check your progress from time to time. Remove the lapping bar, clean the compound from the rings, see how much of the ring's interior finish has been removed, and reinstall the alignment bars. Continue lapping the rings until you have good alignment and 60 to 80% of the ring's interior finish has been removed. Make sure that you don't remove so much material that the rings will no longer tighten on the scope. When you're finished, use a rag and degreaser to thoroughly clean the rings and the threaded holes. Remove the top half of both rings. Keep the ring pairs together and do not reverse the top halves on their bottom halves. Lay the scope in the ring bottoms. Put the top half of each ring back on and turn in the screws just enough to prevent the scope from coming off. You know you'll have the correct eye relief when you can mount the gun and see the full field of view through the scope almost immediately. You may need to move your head slightly forward or backwards, but not much. Slide the scope back and forth until you get the eye relief set right. Then, reinstall the gun in the vise, being careful not to disturb the scope's position in the rings. For optimum accuracy, you need to level the crosshairs. First, install the magnetic level so that it bridges the bolt raceway and adjust the gun so that it is perfectly level. Then set the scope level on the top turret cap and level the scope perfectly. Since the rifle is level and the scope is level, you can now be confident that the crosshairs are level too. Next, carefully remove the ring screws, apply a thread locking compound, and turn in the screws, alternating between screws every few turns. You want even spacing between the ring halves from front to back and side to side. Don't tighten them to full torque while getting the spacing right. Finally, torque down the ring screws to the specifications which can be found in the instructions accompanying your kit. Just adjust the wrench to the desired setting and tighten each screw until you hear the click. The scope is now perfectly mounted. You're ready to go to the range and sight it in.
If you follow these instructions, you'll have a perfectly mounted scope in a stress-free alignment system with level crosshairs. You're now ready to go to the range and do your bore sighting. Be sure and take your fat wrench with you to the range to finish your final torque specifications on your windage screws after you're finished sighting in. I'm Russ Potterfield for Wheeler Engineering. Thanks, and good luck at the range.